Now, what we're in the middle of doing now, we're doing Perek and Mem. Now, the Rebbe discusses three types of kavanah. Kavanah l'shma is parcha leila to the esespheres of the elamas. Kavanah shalei l'shma remains in asiyah. And kavanah without any kavanah at all, it goes up. Mitzvah without any kavanah at all goes up to Yetzirah and asiyah, but it doesn't go into the spheres, it goes only into the elamas. Because even though you're having no kavanah, Teira mitzvah is alakus. And because it's alakus, the Eibishter is in it and it goes up. Now, but then it's alakus b'tzimtzum ad kitzei ha'acher, very extreme. It says the Rebbe Aval as opposed to, top of page Nun Hemad Aleph, Daf Hemad Aleph, b'tfilah b'kavanah, when you daven with kavanah. V'teira b'kavanah, you learn teira b'kavanah. Here the Alter Rebbe uses the word l'shma. Before he kept on using the word dechilu rechimu. And now he's using the word lishma. Dechilu means you love the Eibishter. Dechilu means you fear the Eibishter. Dechilu means you love the Eibishter. Lishma means you're doing it for the Eibishter's sake, on the Eibishter's behalf. Says the Rebbe, so then this is the highest madregim. Harei hakavana mislabesh es beis adiba. Your kavanah in your davening, your learning goes into the spoken words that you're davening with, that you're learning with. Hail because v'imaka v'sheidish lahem. The root and the source, or the source and the root of the words that you're saying is the feelings that you have. That because you have feelings of love for the Eibishter, because you have feelings of Shema for the Eibishter, this is the reason who medaber eis yisrael you speak these words. So since the kavanah is the source of the speech, since your feelings for Hashem are the source of the speech, therefore this feeling, this kavanah, is ma'ala esad, lifts up the mitzvahs and the Torah that we do, ad mekem until its place, but yud sfir is that the Yetzirah Ibriya, the 10 sfiras of Yetzirah Ibriya. Not only there should be in Asiyah Ruchnis, and not only in Mazeh HaGashmi. Lefi mashehi hakavana, based on what the kavana b'dechilu or rechimu, in fear and love, whether it's sichlim, intellectually based fear and love, or tivim, or naturally based fear and love. Canals we discussed earlier in Perek Lametes. V'sham, and in the worlds of Bria Yetzirah, where our Torah and mitzvahs ascend, because we did it with kavana, meir umizgal didn't say baruch. There's a revelation and the light of Ein Sof which is there. Which is the will of the Eibishter Baruch Hu, Hamalubish Beis HaTeira, which manifests in the Eisis HaTeira, Shalem that he learns, Ubekavanasa and his Kavanah. Or B'tfilasa or his Tfilah, or Ubekavanasa and its Kavanah. Or B'mitzvah, the mitzvahs that he performs, Ubekavanasa and its Kavanah. B'ha'ara, Gedei, Lien Kates. And when there's a Kavanah along with the Maisa, the light of Hashem that's revealed is much, much more than the relation would be when you have just a Maisa without any Kavanah whatsoever, which we learned yesterday. If you have no Kavanah whatsoever, it takes godliness, but it's mitzumtzum at kitzei ha'achra. Mashal yachel lahoyer le'izgalas klal, that cannot radiate and be revealed at all. Be'ed ha'esis v'amitzvah mazeh ha'gashmi, while the letters and the mitzvahs in the physical world. Le'minam ela'mitzasa, not that level of love, not that level of light, and not even a small portion of that light. And therefore it has to go up l'mayla. When you do a mitzvah with stam, without any kavanah, so it remains in asiyah. Okay, it goes up to the elam of Yetzirah asiyah, but it doesn't go into the Beis HaMikdash. Because the amount of light is very diminished. When you do it with kavanah, the light is much stronger. Because the light is much stronger, it goes up to the Beis HaMikdash, Bria and Yetzirah, because so much light cannot be in this world, Adei's Ketz Hayam until the end of time, she is Allah, Eilim, Gashmi Yossi, the word is going to lift it up from its Gashmi, as the state, V'nigluk Feda, the Shem V'game, and the glory of Hashem will be revealed, can also be discussed before, Barichas at length, in Perek Lamed Vav, I suppose. Now here's the point. We know 3 kavanahs in a mitzvah. A negative kavanah remains in asiyah. No kavanah goes only to the oilam of Yetzirah and asiyah, not to the spheres. A positive kavanah goes to the Beis HaMikdash, that's the spheres of Brio, Yetzirah, and so forth. What's the point? Sheshal means a Baruch HaSheirah. In the Beis HaMikdash of each world, the Ein Sof rests. The Ein Sof of the Eibush rests in Atzilus. And from Atzilus comes into Bria and into Yetzirah. So it's chap, you have to complicate it even more. When a Yid does the mitzvah taka with a kavanah, he does it taka l'shma. And there's the inyan of Parcha L'Yela, there's 2 steps to the Parcha L'Yela. The first step of the Parcha L'Yela means depending on your kavanah, the chil rechimu tivim, sichli, merkava, it goes to Bria, to Yetzirah, Bria, Atzilus, respectively. And then Nacht, Ein Sof comes down. But if a Yid's mitzvah goes only to Elam Bria, so he goes up to Elam Bria, there's Getlakite in Bria which he receives. The Ein Sof, which is in Atzilus, then goes into Bria. So in addition to the godliness of Bria, which is available there, when the mitzvahs go up to Bria, there's godliness that comes from Atzilus into Bria, we're doing the mitzvah. Which of course explains the Moiden de Kamaila of the Madrega of Merkava, your mitzvahs reach Atzilus, because that's the real Sherish Shumak of the Ein Sof. Hagah. He says, Visham, and over there in the Ruchnizdika worlds, Meir will shine and will be revealed Gamkein, Hayichod the Elyon, the supernal union, the higher up union. Hanasu b'chol mitzvah v'talmud Torah, which happens to each mitzvah learning Torah. Shahu, that mitzvahs and Torah are yichud midaysav yizbarach, the union of the Eibishter's midas. Shenechlala zubazu, that the mitzvahs, the midas become included in one another and create zivugim and yichudim and giluyim through our Torah and mitzvahs. V'nim takas ha'gevuras b'chasadim, and the gevurah is sweetened through chasadim. Ayadei eis ratzon, through the auspicious time above of Ein Sei Baruch Hu. Hameir u'mezgala, which reveals itself and it shines and reveals itself. V'chinas gilui rava atzam, through in a great and a powerful gilui. That b'tzarusa dilatata, through an arousal from below. He asiyas ha-mitzvah esik ha-Torah, which is doing the mitzvah and learning Torah with a kavanah. Sheben melubish ratzon the Ein Sei Baruch Hu, which ratzon the Eibishter is there. So you do mitzvahs, you make a yichud. And what's the pshat yichud? I'm talking gevuras b'chasad. You have gevuras and chasadim. But derechal gevuras the makabel, chasadim is a mashpia. When the gevuras and the chasadim are b'seid shadish, as they are normally, the gevuras are not getting so much from the chasadim. So the gevuras are gevuras kashas. It's gevaldik tzimtzum. When a yid does a mitzvah, creates a yichud of the gevuras and the chasadim sweeten the gevuras. L'shem yichud kuchabrichu, that the chasadim and sweeten the gevuras in the respective elemis, and the hashpah which comes down to us is also more. And he says, however, ikar ha-yichud, the place where this yichud takes place most, however, even though we're saying, let's go through the steps. When you do a mitzvah, you create godliness. But the godliness is mitzvah someone could say ha'achrin, because that's how much gili could be in asiyah. We do the mitzvah with a kavanah, you create much, much more gili of godliness, which cannot be in asiyah aday's ketz. So behechrech and behechlet has to go up. That's number 2. Then comes number 3. Number 3 is that the mitzvah which went up creates a yichud in that world. And by creating yichud in that world, it's mamtik the dinim in that world. So you have 3 prat. I'll repeat again. A mitzvah without a kavanah creates get lachayit, which is mitzvah sayach. With kavanah, it goes up to that ruchni yizdika world. And there's a gili, a lot of gili. Number 3, you create a yichud in that world, which is mamtik the gevuras of that world. But then comes number 4. And that is that there's a gili of Ein Sof, which Alter Rebbe mentioned inside, in the pnim. There's a gili of Ein Sof. But in the gili of Ein Sof, gufa, there's 2 prat. I want you to know, with the last narrow line of that goa. Ikir, ha-yichud, the real place of the yichud, of Amtakas Gvuras B'Chsadim, and Amshach of Ein Sof, as a result, is in Atzilus. Because Shesham, Mumuhus V'yatzim V'neisav Yizbarech, that's the place where the essence of the Eibishter's Midas are, the essence of Chesed the Gevura are, that Am Yuchadez B'Matzil Ein Sof Baruch, which are one with the Ein Sof. V'sham, and since the Ein Sof is in the Midas of Atzilus, Humuhus V'yatzmus, Ratzon Ha'elyon, the will of Hashem, which is Ein Sof, is in Atzilus, because Atzilus is Ein Sof, which is Ratzon, Ein Sei Baruch. V'ha'arason levad, it's only a small light. He ha'me'ira b'biyah shines in B'riyah Tzir Nasiyah. U'mitzvah zu, b'chol eila mehen, in each world, l'fi ma'alosei, according to its level. That v'av she'never sh'adam eisi v'teiru mitzvah zu, even though the neshama of this person is doing mitzvahs, ein ha'matzilus, not from Atzilus, and his parchal is only till Yitzir or to B'riyah, mekom nevertheless, hari ratzon ha'elyon, ha'malubot b'mitzvah zu, the ratzon which is in this mitzvah, hu atzmi advar halacha, is the halacha itself. We'll have to discuss this before in Perikov Gimel. Which he's learning who of course is godliness, and Sefer Maitzil Baruch Hu, and Ein Sof of the Eibishter, Shur Tzeni Yachad Hashem and his will are one. Ubetzeni is Baruch with his will, Hetzel Midesav. He creates the spheres, the midas, Ham Yuchad is Beis Baruch, which are one with him. Val Yedei, and through Gilu, revelation of Tzeni of the will of Hashem. In other words, the Ein Sof. Hametz Gala, which is revealed of the Eisek HaTeirah, Mitzvah Zu, through this Teirah and Mitzvahs. The chesed and the gevurah mixed together. When talking about gevuras bechasadim, the gevuras are sweetened to the chasadim during this special time. So what's the Alter Rebbe saying now? A 4th point. When you do a mitzvah, the kavanah goes up to Ruchni Yizdika world, and it makes a yichud. And then there's a gili of Ein Sof. Says the Rebbe, I want you to know that the yichud and the gili of Ein Sof really doesn't happen in the world you're in. The yichud happens in Atzilus, that's the ikir of Midei Yisbarach. And the gili of Ein Sof happens in Atzilus, that's the ikir of Ein Sof, and what the Rebbe calls over and over again, this hagoah, ratz. And it comes down to ha'ara into your world. So you do a mitzvah with kavanah, it's parchal eilat, let's say b'riyah. And then you make a yichud in b'riyah. But the ikar yichud is in Atzilus. And the ikar gili of Ein Sof is also in Atzilus. It trickles down from Atzilus into b'riyah. So when you do a mitzvah with kavanah, you're connecting to the Ein Sof. But it's not, it's a 2-step process. Kaidem called the Iker Gili Vein Sof through everybody's mitzvahs and everybody's taters and atzilas. And then it spills over from atzilas into Yad. This is what he's adding in the Hagah. You understand? So we know, first of all, there's two pratim. Number one, Parcha Le'ela. Number two, Yichud, which creates in Tachas Gvuras B'Chsadim. And then we're saying that, first of all, the Iker Yichud of Tachas Gvuras B'Chsadim is an atzilas, not in the world where your mitzvahs are. And second of all, that's Mamshach Eid, Ein Sof, which is Ratz in the Elyon, into atzilas, and from there it trickles down to you. You've hated. This explains well. Back to Tanya now. The fact that it says in Zayir that the Chilu, Rechimu, and Ekraim Gatsu, that Yid and Ava called wings. Derech Moshe, way of analogy. Because the pasuk says, "V'shtayim ye'ef," if the malachim fly with two wings. Mishkos v'rachavza v'sharichudim perikav v'kisas and kabbalah of the Arizal. Shaknefayim be'ef, the wings of a bird. Heinz reis ha'adam, like the arms of a person v'chuli, and so forth. U'b'tikun pirshu, and it says in Tikun Zayir. If you learn Torah and you do mitzvahs with Yir and Av and Ekraim bottom, you're called children. If you're you're called young birds, which cannot fly as of yet. So the Alter Rebbe says the pshat that the Av of Yir has the wings. It's not the mitzvahs themselves. The mitzvahs themselves are talking about the getlachait, but the gili of the kus in these mitzvahs and the aliyah to a higher world we can experience more getlachait. This is achieved through the wings, through the Avas Hashem, and the Yiras Hashem, and that's what the Zayir calls it, Gatfin the Parchal Yir. You understood? So far so good. Now goes the second Hagah. And the second Hagah, first of all, I don't know what it means. And second of all, I don't know what's negate to the Tanya. The first Hagah, the Alter Rebbe will sagen that the real Yichud, and the real Ein Sof is in Atzilas, and it only comes down to the Elam of the Mitzvah. Second is Mamish Reine Kabbalah. Ubetikun Ma, and it says in Tikkun Mem Hey from the Tikkun Zayir, as follows. The Eifa, the level of a malach, which is called a bird, who matat, is the malach matat. Reishet le Yud, his head is the letter Yud, v'gufa vav, his body is the vav. Utrein gatfin, hey, hey, the two wings are the two heys, and so forth. V'hainu elam hayetzirah, which is the world of Yetzirah, shnikra matat, which is called matat. Now, when you do a mitzvah with the chilu, and chimu tivim, and your mitzvahs go up till elam hayetzirah, this is the idea of oif haperech. In other words, the Hagah says that even though the Zayir says, that the bird that flies goes on every mitzvah, whether you're doing with the chinuch, with tivim, with the chinuch, with sichlim, or even the madrega of makava. The Hagah says that the Zayir says that the mashal of a bird is be'ikir for elam hayetzirah as opposed to bria and atzilas. This is the end of the first half of the Hagah. And now he begins the second half of the Hagah. And he says, Ubei hein gufi halacha sheba Mishnah, and an elam hayetzirah, which is an elam of midis tiviyim, that the mashal for the aliyah is like a bird that's flying upwards. This is the place of Mishnah. What's Mishnah halacha psuka? The reisha delay, the head, the yud of elam hayetzirah, which is the bird, hein hamoichen, the mind of the yidn who serve the Eibishter, bechinas Chabad, the of Chabad, shein pnimiyas halacha, which is the inner dimension of the halachas, v'seidan v'tamein, and the secrets and the reasons for the mitzvahs. Train God for the two wings are the chilu, the chimu of fear and love, hein hey law, which is the madrega of the higher hey. Shehi the chimu, which is yira, which is ahava. Hey tata, the lesser hey yira tata, which is yira, a lower yira. El malchus shemayim pachad ad Hashem. It's accepting the yoke of heaven, the fear of the Eibishter. Ki pachad hamelach bas v'dam, like you're afraid of a king, of a melech, that much afraid of a physical king. She yira chitzein v'nigos. It's an external yira. So the Alter Rebbe is saying that Elam HaYetzirah is the world of Matat. The brain of Elam HaYetzirah is busy learning Mishnayos, halachas psukas, because the Gila, the Kus of Teir, Yetzirah is halachas. And the heart is in a madreg of Yira Tivus Yiri Allah. Okay, Mashenkin Yira Tom, Mashenkin Yiri Allah, as opposed to the higher Yira Beishit, which is fear, which has shame in it. He man, Haftalas Hashem Elokeinu, was from the secrets that only the Eibishter knows. We're going to have it later on. We had it before. Which is the Madreg of Chachmei Law. So I don't know what he's trying to say with Hagah, but what he says is, number one, that the bird is the gufa, the head is the mechen, and the body is the nehi, is this, to bring out what's happening in El Mayetzira. And he says this is the Madreg of Yirat Atah, because Yirat Allah is already a much higher level. Key, back to the text now. Just like the wings of a bird. That's the most important thing in the bird. And the life of the bird is not dependent upon the wings. chal whatsoever. Because it's not like it says in the Mishnayos, nitlo agapek sheda, a wing without bird is kosher, so it's possible for a carbon. For the most important thing is the head, which is the Torah of Yetzirah, and the body, which is the mitzvah of Yetzirah. The wings only assist the body and the head, to fly with them. The same is true in the Nimshal. There are Torah mitzvahs. Torah mitzvahs are the primary union above. Because it's not like we learned in the Mishnah, nitlo agapek shei, take the wings away, it's kosher. The most important thing is the head and the body of the bird. The wings just help the head and the body to fly. The same is true in the Nimshal. The most important yichud is Torah mitzvahs. The act makes a yichud. And as a result, then there is a gili of Ein Sof, or through the gili of Ein Sof, there's Amtakas Gvuras B'Chsadim. He translates yichud as Amtakas Gvuras B'Chsadim in this painting. Hamazgal, which happens through them. And the Yid and Ava, lift them up, to where the will of the Eibishter is, where the Ein Sof is going to reveal itself, and as a result, and the Yichud which will take place in Sira. He's saying fakert, and I told you. When you do a mitzvah, you create getlichkeit. Do a mitzvah with a wing, with it goes up. And when it reaches that place, it causes a hamshach of ratzon the elyon of Ein Sof. And the result of the hamshach of this ratzon the elyon of Ein Sof, there's a yichud which creates a hamtak. So the Zayas, he brought in the previous Hagah that the mashal of a bird is specific to Yitzirah. Chacha filu, we know that it's true also of Bria, but it's specific for Yitzirah, this mashal. And he says in this Hagah, Ayafilu ba'asiyah. The emes is the inyan of Parcha Le'ela also in Asiyah, but Yud Sfir is the Kedusha, and the 10 spheres of Kedusha became mitzvahs ma'is, plays the 10 mitzvahs ma'is. This line and a half, it's a mad nezach. The Alter Rebbe talks about Parcha Le'ela, yeah? If you do a madrega merkava, it's Parcha Le'ela Ta'atzilas. It's the spheres of Atzilas, yeah? Tchiluchim Sichlim Parcha Le'ela to the spheres of Bria. Tchiluchim Tivim Parcha Le'ela to the spheres of Yitzirah. What about the Beis HaMikdash in Asiyah? There's a Ruchni Yizdik Asiyah, has a sphere, has a spheres. And a Gashmi Yizdik Beis HaMikdash, when it stood, also has Gilei Lakos. There's no Parcha Le'ela in Asiyah. Like the Rebbe, yeah. You know when? Mitzvahs Maisis. And I'm going to propose that this means we do mitzvahs with a Kabbalah sale, but not a Trukinik Kalta Kabbalah sale. A Varam a Lebedik Kabbalah sale. It's also a Kavanah. But it's not a kavanah of Avos Hashem and Yiras Hashem, it's a kavanah of Avdos. So it causes to go up to the spheres of Asiyah. And he says, so the body would be the mitzvahs, the Kabbalah cell would be the wings, and the head would be the Torah, v'chein mikra. And in Asiyah, the Torah is mikra, Torah is chumash. Ava Mishnah, but the Madrega of Allah is Mezgal HaYichud, the union forms, Ve'erin Seiv Baruch Hu, and it brings down Ein Sof, only be Yetzirah, and not in Asiyah. Over Talmud, we learn Gemara, it brings down Bebriya. And Shalimid Mikra, when you learn Chumash with Kavanah, and the Kavanah causes it to go as the spheres of Asiyah. Mispashat HaYichud Ein Sof, the union, and the Ein Sof comes down Baruch Hu Me'atzilas Ad Asiyah, Me'atzilas Tasiyah. It should really say Fakert. It should say Mispashat HaRotzen Ve'erin Say Baruch Hu Ve'HaYichud, because in the Pnim he said first comes the Rotzen, then comes the Yichud. Those like the Fakert HaYichud Ve'erin Sof. You see what I'm showing you? Till Asiyah. Ube Mishnah Ad HaYetzirah Levada, Mishnah until Yetzirah. Talmud the Bria Lavada, and Talmud only to Bria, Kikula and Batzilas, everything begins in Atzilas and it comes down from Atzilas. Aval Kabbalah, but Kabbalah ain't in Mispashetas Klal Atzilas to Bia. It doesn't come down at all from Atzilas to Bia, so the way you have to understand it is this mitzvahs and this kavanah, and this Torah and this kavanah. Mitzvahs like the goof of the bird, which in the previous Agah he says is miyuchat to Yetzirah, but the emes it's a mush of all the elements. The kavanah is the wings which makes it Parcha Le'ela. And then there's the Torah. When you learn Torah with kavanah, depends which chelik Torah. If you learn Mikra, it makes a yichud in Asiyah, and the Lashon Harav is till Asiyah. When you learn Mishnah, makes a yichud till Yetzirah. You learn Talmud, makes a yichud only till Bria. And Kabbalah, Aval Kabbalah, Einim Mispashetas Klal Atzilas to Bia. So here we're seeing is this apparently nocha chilik between mitzvahs and Torah. Torah is the head of the bird, mitzvahs are the goof of the bird. But the Sach Hakal is, when we do mitzvah kavanah, it's even Parcha Le'ela. Ratzon is an Atzilas. What is Ratzon Elyon for? Tanya Perek Chav Gimel. So you do a mitzvah without kavanah. You've aroused Ratzon Elyon, which is an Atzilas, which is a Yichud Ein Sof. Then there's a kavanah, which causes Parcha Le'ela to whatever madrega, Asiyah Ruchnis, Tzira Ruchnis, Bria Ruchnis, and the Ein Sof comes down from Atzilas Where the Ratzon Elyon was created through your mitzvah into that world, and it creates a yichud in that world. That's how you have to understand it. Torah affects the head of the bird, and mitzvah affects the body of the bird. Hamtakas Dinim is yichud Zoh and Malchus. Malchus is Dinim, and Zoh is Chsadim. And when Malchus is Mashpiyat to Lamata, it gives a very mitzumtzum dik hashpah. And when there's a yichud, Malchus Pashat gets more gilui, and there's a great hashpah.